My name is Steffen Brown, and I am at the risk of completing a third circle.
Huh?
Hello, Stefan. Or should I say, Roem. Are you?
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Also, all the background audio will be from Stefan's previous album, Music to Avoid the Third Circle. Okay, so necessary context for me and Roem. This will most likely be a 5-minute context, so please do not click off. If you want to skip to where the interview starts, here's a timestamp. Around a year and a half ago, when my 9th grade year was about to start, a friend of mine sent me a channel of someone that goes to our school. I watched a few of his videos. Okay, let's check this kid out. Wow, 500 subs. Okay, he's pretty successful. Some pretty cool. Wait, what did I just? Isn't that me? Why am I here? I didn't think much of it, besides him being pretty entertaining and feeling like a mix of Tommy in it, Rambo, and Dream. In my 9th grade year, I took Spanish 1, and at some point, my teacher was assigning our second seating chart. The kid who I was assigned to sit next to was named Stefan, which is actually Roem. I did not know this at first. I learned it was Roem when I added him on Discord because we had a group project together or some shit like that. And bro, when we both saw each other's Discords, I remember us mutually realizing that we knew each other somewhat. I am the type of person who believes the purpose of media is to learn stuff and evolve beliefs in different subjects, whether it be about mental health intelligence, global issue intelligence, or even educational intelligence. There were two main people who caused my rapid growth of understanding of why to consume media. The first of the two is my goated 9th grade honors English teacher, and the second is named Steffen Brown. Now all music that I listen to is from recommendations from Steffen besides my weeby music stuff. For example, 21 Pilots is by far my favorite artist of all time, and Roem was the catalyst of this. Other examples of my favorite artists are Underscores, Car Seat Headrest, Geese, and Roem himself, and those are due to Roem introducing them to me. Going back to Roem now, I have listened to songs found on Roem's first album, Music to Avoid the Third Circle, or MTATTC for short, for a collective total that surpasses 1,250 streams. Because of how much I enjoyed Music to Avoid the Third Circle, Roem thought it would be funny to hide everything related to Third Circle music from me and just send me small ass fucking snippets with no value to edge me. This kid edged me till I lost feeling from being edged. Fuck you, Steffen. But yeah, this video is a pre-interview in which I asked Steffen questions prior to TCM coming out. On screen, I'll show you my the questions I wrote down. It kind of went off script a lot, but whatever. I kind of asked similar stuff found on it. Just precursor if you want to pause here. After TCM's release, me and Roman are planning to create a post-interview, so make sure you are subscribed to both Agent Ripper IT and Roam Music Official to make sure you don't miss out. Without further ado, let's get right into the video.
There's like two segments, one regarding like ECM and then like MTATTC, and then the other one regarding your future music career.
Dude, how the fuck do people start these?
For the first question, I do not believe you have talked about the premises of Music Avoid the Third Circle or Third Circle music in a public space. Would you be down to share?
Dude, just the fucking problem is, like, I don't know where to start with it. Like, okay, wait, hold on, let me think for a second. It's weird, I've described MTATTC as, like, part of the whole, like, circle concept, and it's literally in the name. But as I made TCM, I realized, like, they're so much more disconnected than I thought. Like, I really only had, like, the vagueness of what the story was gonna be when I made MTATTC. I didn't really have it all planned out. I was just like, oh, that's a cool name, kind of fits conceptually. Maybe this will become something, maybe this won't. And that was the idea for a while. And I think, dude, MTATTC, it's really just a documentation. I've said that a million times. It's the only really real way to describe it. There's not any call to action or like big, I'm gonna start doing this it's really just me using music in a cathartic way to where I could actually let out a lot of like thoughts and feelings that I have. So,
Yeah.
was the question about both albums or one?
Both albums, just like you want to share. But like, yeah. I mean, do you want to explain what the Nemesis is and how it's evolved over the like 2-ish years it's existed? 2, 3 years, I believe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'll get into that a little bit. So I think probably whoever's seen this has seen the video too. So they saw me define it with that word, relapse. Ooh, big word, big word. We got big words already.
Big word.
W words. I think it originally just started as representing the cycle of life, which is just like you start right here and then you end on another place and it just goes like that forever. And then I thought about, yeah, but that's for everyone. And I think that there's a way to describe it more specifically that just connects better. I think that it starts and ends the same way, which, yeah, that's why it's called a circle. And I think it's a little bit of the cycle of life. It's deciding a change in certain habits and thinking habits, acting on them, seeing if that change works, and then you run the change through where the change doesn't work or it runs out of like its momentum, and then you're back to the start where you need to look for a new change or new way to fix something going wrong. And then that's a circle.
Okay. From what I can tell, there's 3 segments, just as you said. The start is where you are trying to find a new
Way of thinking.
mechanism, or yeah, way of thinking to help you, out of like help you, and then you relapse is the middle, and then yeah.
I think with just the accessibility of the album, there's more of a vagueness to it. I think yeah, that word, it's very like it's a good way of saying it, but it could be any form of using a mechanism that doesn't work. Or
In that
using or
case-
trying or making a change that doesn't end up being the change you wanted it to be or thought it would be.
That's kind of the definition of relapse. Like, it doesn't have to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going back. You are going back to an issue that you've faced before, and it, yeah.
Well, yeah, but like, what's a good example? I think the word relapse. It's for a very like specific. No, wait, that's a weird way of saying it.
You make
It's for habits that you're trying to break, but what's a better example of like where that word wouldn't really work? Like, let's just say this is like I don't think anybody's gonna listen to TCM with this in mind or be like, oh, this is why I relate to it. I'm gonna get all A's by the end of this year, and it's August. And then in the middle of the year, your grades drop a little bit. I mean, you could say that is a relapse, but like, I think that there's a lot of different situations where it could simply just be a change or method to change or fix something that ends up not working out in the long run. It could be like a car that's broken down, and then you tape something or add something to fix it, and then the car breaks down again. That's a good way of saying it actually. And I think for me it falls into the category of just relapse and that whole word in general. But I think that it very much depends on who you are, on how you want to interpret that. So.
Okay. So, is there like a specific quote unquote relapse that is found in both Music to Avoid the Third Circle and Third Circle music, or is it just
MTATTC, it's so loose there isn't really a specific one. And in TCM there is, and I'm not gonna go like fully in depth on that. No, it's not because teasing, but also just like interpretation and stuff.
yeah?
But I think that I think that this one has a much more specific concept where I think it's using fear of circumstances that can cause you to go back to old habits or old ways, using the fear of those circumstances to basically not fuck up. It's saying, it's like when you're getting chased and you use, if I stop running, I'm gonna, this, whatever's chasing me will get me. It's like that. And it's using that thought as kind of a motivator to be like, if I do any of these things that could get me to stop running, then this thing will catch up to me and that just won't be good.
By the way, the wording that Stefan just used is very important for the album conceptually. So yeah, just wanted to point that out.
And I think that there's something that works in there in the short term where it's like, okay, so I need to not fuck up something with my friends. I need to get good grades. I need to do this and do that. Because if any of that stuff does happen, then it'll eventually lead to fucking up or relapse is what I say in the trailer and stuff. I think it's very much about that and how well that specific method works, because that's how it's tied into my life specifically. So
So TCM, you use the fear of relapse, correct?
Ed or me here again. The question I just asked is also a hint to what I just stopped the video for like 30 seconds ago. Stefan will probably explain it himself.
yes, or the fear of the circumstances that lead up to relapse, which is also just the fear of relapse.
And how does that compare to Music to Avoid the Third Circle? Like the
I think it's very much more tied in and knitted together well. With Music to Avoid the Third Circle, it connects in a way, but I think that there's not really a specific... Music to Avoid the Third Circle is very much about getting yourself back up and getting yourself from the middle to the end of a circle. And it doesn't really show how I got to that point. But like again, with MTATTC, maybe it's just because this thing is so much better. It feels kind of silly compared to MTATTC TCM. But MTATTC is a lot more loose than I thought. So I think that's one way they that's one way they contrast. But I think the biggest similarity is that they kind of lead into each other in a way. I think that MTATTC is the middle of that second circle, which is after you fuck up, then being like, I can't function like this. I should try and look for more methods. And then you look and look and look. And then you're like, I think I'm about to find one. And then the other circle starts, and then we get to TCM.
Okay. I believe from my interpretation, both albums are focusing on redirecting energy. Like,
Yes, exactly. Oh my god, that's a good point actually. I think that
like Untitled Energy, one of the key lyrics is grab the energy.
there's a callback to that song on TCM.
Really?
Yeah, there's a callback somewhere where I say if I don't grab the energy and claim it, then blah 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 blah, and the rest of the song. I think that TATTC is very much taking that energy and putting it into music, and I think TCM is very much taking that energy and putting it into not messing up and relapsing. Yeah, and I think so they technically connect in terms of that energy thing, but it's very different. It's a very different context to it. I think that yeah, it's different enough context to each example to where it's kind of hard to be like, oh, you went from putting it into music to putting it into this, because it's like I feel like they could both kind of coexist in a way, and I just feel like the way of grabbing energy and putting it into or using it as a method to not mess up is a lot more important than just grabbing it and putting it into making music. And I think it's cool to talk about making music, but I said this while messaging you. TCM is not that meta. I don't really talk about writing in the album. I don't talk about the process of making a song. It's not like the opening line to anything is, "Oh, I'm going to make a song today." And yeah.
Touch somewhat on this subject, but I wanted to know, like, directly what you believe the similarities and differences are of Music to Avoid the Third Circle and Third Circle music, like lyrics-wise or like
Sound-wise, production-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is actually a good segue into just like general like album stuff. That's just like crazy concept. In terms of sound, or actually no, there's the biggest difference, and I'll talk about it just right now. Structure. I think that let me even go to Spotify to pull this up. Any song on MTATTC is most likely shorter than the corresponding track on TCM. Let me go and look actually just at the... Yeah, there's not a single 2-minute song on TCM. There's a couple 3-minute ones. But most of them, I kind of realize, how do I make the most of a certain idea and a certain structure, and how do I make the most of what I'm trying to say? Because I think if I have enough confidence in a message I'm trying to get across in a specific song, then I could spread that thing out to 5 minutes of just crazy shit. And I think that it's better to get everything across than potentially not really get enough across. Because a good example, something where I don't do that enough, and I regret this, I feel like Hypnotize could have been a hell of a lot cooler than it is. I think that one specifically was like a tiny bit rushed. And I feel like I would have done like cooler building on ideas and stuff on TCM that I just flat out didn't do on MTATTC. So I think that's a big thing. And another big thing is just sound in general. There's a lot more guitar, to be specific, on TCM. Partly because I learned guitar. It's more. There's a lot more real instruments and less like beat sounding things. I feel like a lot of MTATTC is like, whoa, look at this beat I made with 4 layers: a bass, a lead, and some chords and some drums. This is very different, where everything's a lot more like raw, is a good way to say it. It doesn't feel like I just sat down at a computer, but it feels like I actually had like really solid ideas that I just developed on a lot. I think I don't mumble anymore. That's just one thing I realized I shouldn't do. I I still use this mic. This mic I've realized that is really good for mumbling and really difficult for like actually projecting shit. So I had that was like a slight struggle in terms of just like technical stuff. But I think yeah, I just don't dude, it sounds like almost like a different artist, and I wish I could explain it better. But like I go into so many different styles of how to like process and just use my voice on TCM. Like there's some parts where I'm like doing this weird kind of distorted rap type of thing, and then there's some parts that are really raw, with, like a bunch of reverb and just me like singing with a piano and like in the same song even. I find that really cool. So oh, and wait, one more thing. On almost every song on TCM, there is this like slight distortion on the vocals that I didn't even realize I was doing it until like halfway through. I was like, oh my god, every single fucking song has this effect on it where it makes the vocal kind of and sound really just distorted and weird and kind of broken, or like it's peaking a little bit. That was like a mix of like a clipper and an overdrive, and I think I kind of did that for most of the album, because like I very much, the sound of this thing corresponds with the concept, and I think that I am bold, I'm scared, I'm fear. Boldness is definitely what I was going for in the sound. I'm gonna do something where it's like you rather love how this shit sounds, or you're like, man, turn the shit off. Like literally, like the first sound you hear on the album is like this big piano stab. It's the one you hear in the trailer. Like I was like, bah. And I think that's like a really good, you're gonna love this or hate it, but I'm gonna really stand on this hill and be like, this shit's sick.
So you're saying that bold talk, like I am bold, talked about lyrically as well, or is it just feeling mainly?
It's very much a feeling. I think that it's partly how the album feels. It's partly being like, it's a little bit have to do with the concept, but also just like, I'm not bullshitting anymore. I'm gonna not mumble anymore. I'm gonna write what I really feel like. I'm gonna make like 5.5-minute songs. I'm gonna do some like insane shit that I just wouldn't have done 2 years ago. So I think that's largely what I like. That doesn't that just kind of have like a cool feel into it? I am bold. Like what you say, that's like, fuck yeah. I don't really know what that means, but that sounds cool enough to where I think I could say that. And it's like, yeah, they get it.
Would you say
So,
I am fear and I am scared are also incorporated in all aspects of the album?
the words fear and scared, this is actually a good sign that I think that I did well on making this thing really consistent conceptually. Those phrases appear so much. Like, yeah, in almost like every single song, I say the word scared or the word fear. And I think that those are very much more conceptual than just I feel bold, this feels cool, and those are very much, this is the feeling that I'm trying to get across in this album, and this is what I'm trying to talk about. And I think throughout the whole project, I have a very upfront and in-your-face type of tone and like character, but behind it is like a very insecure and unsure, well, scared, as I say, and I'm scared there, just person behind all the cool shit you're hearing. So I think that's kind of how I imagine it. Like the project is bigger than who's making it, because like even on the first song, I love the first song so much. It's this big piano stab, and then I like say like in a really shaky voice, I am scared, and that's already so contradicting in itself. Like it's like bah, I am, and it's like that's just cool to me. That's really cool to me. The contradiction of that, just kind of morphing the sound and concept into one. The music is bigger than me, and I'm a little unsure if this will work, and I don't have that much confidence, but I'll try to like pull it off in a way where I'm very in your face, because at the end of the day, there's something I want to tell the world of this project. And I think that I had that thing in mind like the day I started this shit. And I was like, I had so much confidence in this thing. Like, we'll probably talk about this later on. Starting it, especially, like, there was a day where I decided what this project will be, and I stuck with that for all 290 something days that it took to make it. So
3 phrases, like they're not, I wouldn't say they're dichotomies, but they both relate to each other and also oppose each other, which I find very interesting.
oh yeah, definitely. Especially I Am Bold, because it's like, I'm gonna make fucking these insane 5.5 minute songs with these big screams and really project and like do these crazy ideas. And at the same time, I'm not the type of person to be so in your face about stuff, but I have thoughts and I have things I think about and I have things that I do and like I have certain traits. And I think that TCM is very much an exaggeration of all of that. And if you just came into my head and you're like, this is how he thinks and feels and acts without the filter of there's no filter. I think Fluke is very much a track where that it's very much about that, where it's taking the parts of myself that would usually be pretty filtered and just throwing it out there, and it's like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. So
I mean, like, a prime example of that was just the snippet that is found in the trailer, the bum,
Just-
I am bold. The big boom feels very bold, and then it comes in with that raspiness that is found.
By the way, this is the snippet that I'm talking about from the trailer. Just from the snippet alone, I believe the first track, I Am Fear, is going to be a great dichotomy, from feeling to lyrically. You can tell that it feels so bold, and yet it comes into raspiness, and is probably going to talk about fear, boldness, and scaredness, but probably focus on the fear aspect of it, because that is kind of very big gimmick in the album, and I think that's very cool.
yeah, like that on its own is so. But I am, and the raspiness. Yeah, I love that a lot.
The creator of this album, how does it feel being this close to the release? Like, are you feeling scared, excited, or like a mixture of both?
Dude, that's a great feeling, because I think that this is very much my life's work. I started this in August, and it was like, I'm gonna work on this all year, no matter fucking what. And I think being this close, it's a little bittersweet, because even though you haven't even heard it yet, it's like I'm putting these out, and then I can't change anything or add anything to this anymore. It's set in stone. And I think that's weird to think about, because I know that I'm gonna inevitably see the flaws of this project in years to come, which I just don't see right now, because this project is just inherently me. But yeah, I think it's a little bit, I'm excited, I'm a little scared, but it's very big for me, I'd say. And I think that I can't really predict how I'll feel the day I release it, but it's not, I feel like with MTATTC, it was like, oh cool, it's out. Alright. This, I'm not gonna be able, like, it's gonna be me letting go of something I don't really want to let go of yet.
Because
But
what I can tell from Music to Avoid the Third Circle, that was something you actually wanted to let go of. Like the concept.
yeah, very much. Not even just conceptually. It was just like, this is mid music. I'm gonna be real. When I announced and even released it, Music to Avoid the Third Circle, I had half of these songs already, and I was like, dude, fuck is the point of this shit? I'm gonna release it, and then that'll be it, and then I can move on. Dude, it was so relieving to release it, because then I was like, oh great, now all I need to focus on is this shit. Like, this is like everything. There's nothing else in the way where it's like, oh, I need to do this promotion, or I need to make sure the lyrics are right on this song, and blah blah blah. I could just solely look at this and be like, I'm gonna put everything into this. I'm gonna leave social media, stop giving anyone as much like hints to what I'm doing, and I'll just lock in for 6 months. And yeah.
Yeah, it seems as though you are definitely both excited and not excited for the album to release.
Yeah, I'm a little worried, Cause dude, oh my god, after I release this shit, dude, I'm gonna 100% be like, what now?
I'll get into questions about that later, but I feel like this kind of segues into another question. What songs are you most excited to see the light of day, and which songs are you least excited?
Dude, oh my god, these questions are actually cool. I'm fucking pumped for people to hear Devil's Horns and Loop Theory. I've told you this. Those two are very much like, I've gotten like only positive reviews and people tweaking the fuck out. Dude, oh my god, I got like numerous texts from different people being like, dude, Loop Theory just made me cry. And I'm like, are you kidding? And Loop Theory, I've had Loop Theory for 2 years, longer than I stopped caring if I fail. And there's this demo of Loop Theory called The End of Late Night Dreams, and that was just the beat, and I made it 2.5 years ago while I had COVID. Then like 2 months later, I made it into something that sounds slightly like how it sounds now. A demo could just called 2024. Never saw the light of day. And then I realized that I still deeply connected with that beat. Like I thought that was one of the best beats, not beats, or like one of the best like instrumental things I've ever made. The instrumental to Loop Theory. It had you'll hear it in the song. There's a really big tension in the chords, and it's two simple chords that just go back and forth, but there's such this like big and emotional tension. And then I said, okay, how do I make this cooler than it's already been? And then I was like, oh, I know the method. I'm gonna add bigger shit and add this weird B section. It's such a great song. I'm so excited for you to hear that one. Devil's Horns, I think, I remember like one of the first things Maddie says is I sounded like Kanye on it, and I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. And then I think just another cool thing about Devil's Horns is like it's the most bold one on here. I'm like not screaming. I'm like butter, like it's the type of shit you'd be like, ugh, make a stank face to. And then it goes into this really like sad and lonely B section with just guitar and my voice, and I'm really excited for those two. It's the biggest change from MTATGC, I'd say. Least excited. I don't even have to fucking say it. I'm gonna move on from this bullshit song that nobody likes. Nobody. No, I know I do. I'm joking there. But dude, oh my god, nobody fucking likes Spoiled Rotten Trees.
Yeah, your last hope is me, bro.
Dude, and it's funny. I don't even know what there isn't to like. It sounds the most like MTATTC, but in a very purposeful way. And like it's so spacey. It sounds like something you'd walk in the rain to, if that makes sense. There's no big drop. It's chill though. It's very chill, but like not like it's vibey, and it's kind of chill, and it's cool, and it's spacey. It's very spacey. A lot of reverb. Leave This World I'm a little scared about, because I wrote that about something I'm not experienced in, which I regret writing that one a little bit. I wrote it about Octo's experience of being trans, and at first I was like, yeah, I'm doing something right. Then Maddie listened, and Maddie was like, yo, what the fuck are you going on about here? And I was like, oh my god, you're a little right.
By the way, Maddie is just a friend of Steffan's that is trans, so probably could have picked that up, but yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, if the one trans person that's heard it hasn't liked it, then what am I supposed to do? So that one I'm a little nervous about. I think it's an amazing song still. And I think that I wrote it from a genuine place to where I don't really feel ashamed of it. But I think that I didn't fully know what I was delving into there. And it feels like someone who hasn't been through that trying to empathize with it, which isn't bad at all. But it's a really, really good song though. It's the one Bobby likes the most. It's very much the most anthemic one.
I don't really care about Bobby's opinion that much.
Dude, no, Bobby has some good opinions on this album. It's Bobby's favorite, and it's the most anthemic one. Like it sounds a little like Downstairs. It's very like there's a part where it goes from like 0 to 100. The chorus sounds so like it's like ba da ba, and it's like it's really cool. I'm a little nervous for I Am Fear, because there's a certain part in it that Daniel Bland fucking hates. That
bro, it's Daniel Bland.
No, he's a good test listener, because he doesn't know enough about music, but he's like, yo, this shit trash, or this shit alright, and I'm like, yeah, dude, I need test listeners like that, to where they're not smart asses. Maddie fucking hates this one part in I Am Fear, but Charles loves this one part in I Am Fear. and Bobby loves this one part, and I fear, and it's the most split thing I've ever gotten, to where half of the people were like, take this out of the song and this song will be fine, and the other half, like, I made a new version of it without this thing, and then people said, what happened? The song lost its character. I think when that happened, when I took it out, and then the people who originally liked the certain part were like, why'd you take it out? Now the song, it feels like characterless. Then I was like, I think it's worth pissing people off if the song has its character.
Yeah, because then it's hyper specific. We've talked about soulful.
Yes, hyper specific. It's not even about being soulful. It's about like, yeah, it's about how I feel. Yeah, I think those two are the ones I'm most scared. I think all the other Watchdog I'm a little nervous about because the chorus sounds a little funny to Maddie, but you know what? It's a great. Dude, Watchdog is gonna fucking destroy you. Oh, most of these will destroy you. I'm gonna be honest.
No, I know. Because of this, I want to talk about 2 songs. Leave This World. That's the name of it, right? So, is it you're taking? I'm assuming you're like using the experiences of having a trans friend.
Yeah, exactly. That's on point. Having a trans friend and being like,
so
you
it's
know what?
not that means it's in good intentions and it's still hyper specific.
Oh yeah, it's in great intentions, and I think that I wrote it out of empathy, and I think especially it made me realize the full picture with who that friend was and like the issues that friend went through, and it's like, oh, a lot of people go through this, and I think it's something interesting to me. I've always been interested in why that's a thing, not that it shouldn't be a thing, but like the very much the why of it and how it affects certain people. And I think I very much wrote it about it's a specific person going through this. It's not like anyone could relate. Like I talk about like specific examples of things that are harder for, I'll just say Octo. She's trans, she's cool.
Dude, I love that you literally, like, 3 minutes ago, or 2-3 minutes ago, said Octo's name before this. Like, this also happened in your Halloween Carnival video. Literally right here.
Ew, bro. Would you like to explain why? Like, I'd really appreciate that.
Because my boy Aaron likes Terrarium more. Yeah, is that right? Yeah.
Yo, can I use your first name? I'm gonna give you a name you don't like. Edward. This is
like,
Edward.
You literally just... stop doing this! You're not schizo, bro.
So yeah, I think that one, it's an amazing song though, and I'm not gonna hide behind it, and I'm gonna defend it. So.
Second song I want to talk about is Loop Theory, which I'm assuming that's the one that you're most excited for.
100, dude. Oh my god, I don't even know how the fuck you're gonna react to that. You're gonna explode.
As a 21 pilot, because from what I can tell, it's
Okay, so not gonna lie, for this part of the interview, I kind of mixed up the place where Loop Theory is. I thought it was where These Days is, which is track 14, but no, it's track 13. I try to cover it up later, but the reason why I brought up 21 Pilots is because the final song on both Vessel and Breach, two albums made by Tyler Joseph and Josh Dunn, I think there are 3 songs structured like these 2 last tracks, them being Intentions, which is the final track on Breach, Truce being the final track on Vessel, and then Kitchen Sink being on Regional at Best. I believe all these take important roles as either a thesis or a conclusion, and that Tyler Joseph is saying something to the viewer directly and not through a story or through music. He's saying you should do this, this is my view on life, what about yours? And these are like the different things that the band believes in how they should live. The only difference between Kitchen Sink and Truce and Intentions are that Kitchen Sink is from the trio era of 21 Pilots, and then Intentions and Truce are from, in my opinion, Trench Saga both. Truce can be considered not in Trench Saga, but who cares? We don't need to go into 21 Pilots that much. Just know that I'm being very stupid.
No, not even that. Not even that. it's amazing, and I can't fucking describe it. All I can tell you is that the drums reminded Bobby of Shy Away, and that's kind of it.
But
It's
for
a
this
very unique song.
I would want you to explain to me the like conceptual premises of that song and how it relates to the last track, Third Circle. Like how it differs from Third Circle from.
You see what I mean? I'm talking about the last track, not the second to last track.
Yeah, and these days isn't like a real. I think that one, it's very. I can't talk about what it's about fully because you'll have to wait and see. Sorry,
I mean, like
do that.
conceptually. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
I think how it conceptually ties. I think that it's so much more conclusive than Third Circle. It doesn't leave you with more, or it doesn't leave you wanting more, and it doesn't leave you being like something else is coming. And I actually think these days is kind of the emphasis that nothing else is coming. It's loop theory ends, and you don't really feel on edge anymore, and you're like, wait, that's it. And then these days starts playing, and you're like, oh, that's it. That's the end. That's Roem's not gonna do the Circle Saga. Which, by the way, that's the last this is the last Circle album. Fuck Circles, just kidding. But like, I think that this is the most I can develop on one idea without it getting stale. So, dude, oh my god, I've joked to my friends so fucking much about fourth circle fourth circle music. Dude, no, and like fucking in interactions, like Mr. Griffin would say like, it's a pretty full circle moment, and Charles would like turn his head at me, like be like, say that again.
No, whenever I hear you say a couple days ago, I always think of anything for everything. That's that's exactly how it feels to me right now.
Dude,
Like,
what's also fucking funny is that like it's not even like they don't even really care about the concept of circles. They just find it fun. Like I can't fucking talk about that stupid ass shape anymore without like being like say that again. So that's been something funny. But yeah, I think it's so much more conclusive. It leaves your stomach full, and it leaves you wouldn't want it to be any longer or shorter.
relates to the end of the Trench Saga of 21 Pilots.
It's weird. I used to really like associating that, but I don't as much anymore because I think that this project slowly became very much something of its own when it started out, or at least as an artist, I started out with very much similar intentions as the Pilots, and that it's straight enough to where it feels a little silly to compare them. I think that it's similar in a way where there's a lot of acceptance involved, and there's a lot of interpretation. Like, I don't think you'll totally be able to figure out the ending for a little bit. Yeah, that's kind of it. I think the biggest difference is the circle concept can apply to your life, and Clancy beating Nico or whatever. I don't live in a dictatorship. It's not, the circle thing isn't really a metaphor. It's just, it's an idea. I think that's the biggest difference.
It's a very big metaphor.
Yeah, and I think this is just like, dude, I felt so alienated my whole life, and I think that I've been using this concept to show people what I think about and how I operate. Partly a test. Does anyone else feel the way I feel through these 14 tracks? I hope so.
I want to dial into is more of Tally to intentions and loop theory to these days.
Oh, it's like night. I can't really connect Tally and loop theory. That's just something I can't.
Really?
I can't. They're very.
Yes.
I think, dude, they're actually different enough to. Yeah, no, Tally doesn't tie to loop theory. I think intentions ties to these days, where it's like an aftermath kind of song, and they're both really stripped. Like, that's sort of it in a way. I'd say the closest we have to Tally on this album is Poison Flowers, but even then, they're pretty far from each other. Dude, I'm so excited about the fact that you're not fully paying attention to some songs that are really important.
I mean,
Like, that's so cool to me. Like, you don't know which one of these are like the biggest shit and like the biggest fucking.
I mean, for me, from the titles and from I understand conceptually, the ones I care about the most are I Am Fear, Devil's Horns, Loop Theory, and These Days.
Yeah, those are the
first two and last two.
those are the big ones. These days is the shortest one. Everything in between that is Love Me When I'm Ugly was the first song I wrote for this project, and it means a lot to me, even though it's kind of a silly song. It's a very like, ooh, okay, okay, Steffen, keep fucking rocking. But it's not like an emotional one at all. But I think that one is, it's not important to the concept, but it's important to how I made the album. And I think the way I made that song and thought about that song and got the idea of it affected how I made the album so much. Actually, wait, before this, can I talk about one more thing? Can I talk about how I got the idea for this whole thing, this whole big project? Or at least how I started Love Me When I'm Ugly, because I think that's important. I had a very weird night in Mexico, at a resort in Mexico. And I was talking to, I told you a story, and I was talking to my friend, and I was listing out a lot of things I was scared of happening in the year following that would lead to me getting worse, just in terms of how I've been feeling, right? And then that was just a big night for me, and that was me realizing I'm so scared of change and things that will change. And then I think that the next day, I was at the airport. We were going back to LA, and it was the first time in ages I felt like something new and something big was coming. And I remember I sat down on one of the chairs like an hour before a flight, no, like 30 minutes before a flight took off, and I made the instrumental to Love Me When I'm Ugly, and that was like, this is the fucking album. This is what it's gonna be. I hear everything now. I very much, I knew the feeling of the album immediately in the airport when I sat down and just made that, and I was like, yeah, that's how I'm gonna kick this thing off. From there, it was very much just kind of a blur. I think I held on to that inspiration, and that inspiration very much developed over time. I made that, and the next thing you know, I have two kind of cute guitar songs. Guitar Song and Watchdog. And I was like, but this isn't a cute guitar album. And then I said, fuck you, and then I made The Middle Seat, which is some rap shit. And then like after that, I made Leave This World, and it just kind of, it was like a big snowball. But dude, it was just like this big snowball of emotions that I didn't know where it was coming from. It was just like, I need to write and write and write. In the middle of math class, I kept pulling out papers and just writing and writing and writing. Whenever I felt horrible, whenever I didn't want to talk to anybody. One day during lunch, I said, Aaron, I can't talk to you right now or else I'm gonna go fucking mad. And I sat there for the whole period and wrote the best verse on Miscellaneous Rambles. And that's like, it was so cathartic. And just for a year straight, there was so much horrible things I was feeling, and I didn't feel good. And I was vomiting. Like I was letting everything out into each of these. I wrote most of these in class just because that's where my thoughts get the most weird, and where I don't really want my thoughts to go, in the middle of Mr. Moritos, when I get bored of shit.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then like
Marita?
Yes. And then like I start thinking about things that like aren't really healthy or good to think about, and then I jot them down on a paper. Next thing you know, I have fucking most of Loop Theory, which is by the way what happened. And Loop Theory, so many people have messaged me being like, man, this shit's amazing. And like The Middle Seat, I wrote in math class again. And literally, there's a lyric in The Middle Seat that says, I was in math class. And that's how the verse starts. Yeah, dude, writing in class was a big thing for all of this, because it was like, that was the time when I felt I needed to let things out the most, and that's what I did. Even Fluke, there was a lot of it that I wrote during Spanish when I shouldn't have even been writing shit. I was like sitting down. The only ones that really stayed out of class were, I wrote all of these days in Spanish. It was Watchdog, I Stopped Caring, but I made I Stopped Caring 2 years ago. Guitar Song. Oh, and Love Me When I'm Ugly, but I made Love Me When I'm Ugly before school started, so like, give me a break.
Closure questions to the circle stuff. I know that TCM follows the entire third circle. I was wondering, as person, what circle are you in now?
Third. Yeah, I think that I just knew what was gonna happen. There's not much more to say, and you'll see on the album. There's not a lot. I could kind of tell how things would go, and I said I might as well tie this up, so I don't have to worry about tying it up in these past couple months. Yeah, it was very much. It wasn't really about. It was using the specific circle, but it's just about circles in general too. You could apply it to any circle, I think.
So, what part of the circle did you start and finish writing of? like third circle music?
I started it just at the exact start. If anything, I'd actually consider the day I wrote Let Me Win a Motherly as the start of the third circle. I'd say that is when, and then I finished it shortly after the middle section.
Okay.
Well, in terms of mastering and mixing, but that's boring shit. Dude, I was mastering this shit a week ago, bro. Some of these, dude, oh my god, fucking negative 14 LFUs. I had to get everything that volume. That was a whole thing, but yeah.
Do you believe you will ever escape circles and not relapse? Or would you say that means that you will stay in one circle? Like the ending of one circle?
I'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, that makes sense. Are you able to escape? Like, just on a conceptual standpoint?
On
do
a
you believe
conceptual
anybody
standpoint,
can es-
I think that to escape one is to have a little bit of acceptance and just not let too much of it be accepted. You have to let the bare minimum of it be accepted and then go from there. I think that.
So to escape circles, you have to live with a circle.
Yeah, but you'll have to strip it down so much to where it loses most of its power and you don't really notice it.
Okay, that makes sense. That was like most of the important questions. Now, time for questions not related to TCM. After TCM, do you have any more plans for your music career? Like at all?
I'm gonna promote the shit out of this album, and I know this album will get big because I have promotion planned. I've watched thousands of videos about how to promote stuff. There's gonna be, I think, some physical media. I'll give out a couple vinyls. That'll be a big thing. I have some leftover songs that were from TCM that I didn't use that I might do something with. But overall, I'm kind of blindsided. Think that I've had some ideas for projects after this and like some name ideas and like been getting a lot of new inspiration, but I don't think that'll lead to anything crazy until later in the summer.
You said that you do not have any plans continuing the circle premises.
No, I want to let go of that, and I think a big thing to start with, maybe even escaping that part of how I feel, is to stop giving it its power. I think I gave it its power here so other people will be validated. But I think that it making this project is also giving it a little bit of power. I think the good thing about the next project is I know that I won't be talking about circles.
Do you believe that you will stay primarily in mental health for your next music projects?
Dude, I'm just gonna stay with how I feel. It could be mental health. It could be about change. It could be about love. It could be about. It's really only these two that are very specifically about that. I like a lot of. I'm going on my playlist right now to just check. I like a lot of different music about a lot of different shit.
Yeah, and that's very important to be able to.
Yeah, like some of this stuff is just like. Yeah, I don't really want to be confined to just that, cause that would just be. I don't. I'm more than that, I think.
Yeah, because I remember one time in college we were talking about like global problems, and you were like, "Dude, I should start writing about stuff about these like political or global problems that are found in this world."
That would be dope as shit, but I realized something since then, or this is why I haven't done that. I'm not educated enough, so.
I mean, just in my opinion, just bring awareness to knowing that we should think about it more, like issues more is enough.
Dude, oh my god, okay, I'm gonna fucking. Dude, that project's been a headache to make. Genuinely, I've been pushing through it. It's so fucking hard to make shit with other people, and it's like, you were probably just gonna ask me, how's that going? It's like, I'd rather rub my balls against a fucking cheese grater and then feed it to the homeless guy down the street and then have him throw that shit back up into my mouth. Because writing with other people is so difficult, and I think it sounds dope so far. And I think of Maddie's fucking guitar skills and skills of just playing shit and she's so talented, it's creepy. I think that I'm excited about it.
Do you believe that can continue into a separate like career? Like you want to-
Maybe. I think that if it goes well enough, I think Maddie will just be a helper for a while. Like, she'll be helping around on other stuff. But I think so, if it goes well and if I feel like it. But right now I'm just focusing on that one project, and we're not really thinking about what we'll do after. So
In the next 5 years, where do you see yourself? Like, what do you believe you're going to bring awareness to in your music for the next 5 years?
I think just whatever I'm going to be going through my life, man. I think that I'm going to have some struggles in college and getting a job and trying to figure myself out with that, starting a family or whatever the fuck. Drinking, drug, just stuff that very much age consistent stuff to where like the stuff I talk about now is primarily like a 15-year-old very much relate to a lot. And I think like by the time I'm like 18 or like I'm in college, I'll be writing about different stuff or like stuff that may not be as relatable as to me now. So
Okay. But do you believe that what percent chance do you believe that you will continue writing music for the rest of your life?
oh, 100. I don't see myself doing this is like showering.
Yeah.
This is like putting clothes on in the morning. This is how I function. This isn't a hobby. It's how I do. It's how I see. It's how I envision myself.
I'm assuming this is your primary coping mechanism, like positive coping mechanism.
I that word feels weird, dude. It's just like I use it to cope with stuff, but also just like I breathe this stuff.
Or like expression. I don't know.
It's my primary way of expression. Let's say it's very cathartic. Can I show you some memorabilia?
I have decided not to show the memorabilia. It's just Steffen's doc while he was working on the album. I think the everything else in this video, I try my best to have it contain meaning and have it to contain stuff that I feel like I would want to consume for somebody's album that I want to listen to. I try to make this album in the perspective that in 10 years, Steffen might be a big artist in which people might want to learn about his first few projects. I'm thinking of it like how I see 21 Pilots. Me and Steffen have both watched 11-year-old interviews of them, and we have both loved them, and I just want to try my best to do the same. I'm sorry if the editing's poor quality or anything. I had not that many days to do this, and I was trying to get it out the day before, and I had a lot of stuff to do for school. I literally had to edit like 45 minutes in 3 hours before I was planning to premiere it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, thank you so much for watching if you watched this far.